Welcome to the Beauty in You podcast, a safe place created for all women to come relax, get inspired, and be constantly reminded that they have not lost the ability to be who they once were. Join us as we dive into the true meaning of rediscovery through inspiring guests and topics such as healing, self-love, and creating a positive mindset. So sit back, relax, and get comfortable as we dive into this week's episode. Here's your host, Mack.
Hey, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of the Beauty in You podcast. I am so excited as we are going to be talking about our rediscovery journey. I am so blessed and so honored to have the one and only Amelia Furlow, who is a published author, talking to us about rediscovery, the importance of relationships, self-love, and all things positivity. So how are you doing today, Mama?
Hello, I am doing wonderful. Just want to say thank you so much for having me. I am so grateful to be a part of your amazing podcast, and I am doing amazing. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I am blessed. Today was pretty busy, but it's all worth it in the end. And I am just so happy that you are a part of my journey and that you agreed to do this with me. I was so excited when we even talked, in our pre-interview, because you just have so much knowledge and just so much to share with the world. And I think it's important that they hear it and everyone has a platform to do that. But before we dive deep into it all, I want you to just walk me through, your rediscovery journey and what led you to everything that you're doing today.
Oh, I love that. That is a great question. And I just, want to just give thanks to my village, my friends, my family, those who just were in my corner when I didn't see my own light. So my discovery journey, just rediscovering, I would say has been continuous because this journey, although it's been transformative, it's just been so eye-opening for me. So to give you all just some background, I was born in California. So living in California, I got the opportunity to just explore my passions. I'm talking from acting, music, got into just different spoken word pieces, poetry. And then fast forward, my parents moved me and my family all the way to Chesapeake Beach, Maryland. So it was just a total change in our environment. And, I grew up and just spaces where everyone didn't look like me. So I had unique hairstyles, unique outfits from just all over the world. My grandmother would send me pieces. My family, they knew I was into fashion. So I would just get unique pieces from all over where we're just awesome conversation starters growing up. They would be like, oh my goodness, where did you get this from? Where did you get that from? So my whole journey has honestly been something that wasn't always, I would say, a clear path where I always knew where I would end up where I am at today. It was something that brought me to where it was a self-discovery, I would say. It's like a self-discovery stage to where I realized, you know what? I may not look like everyone else, but I love who I am and I embrace that journey. So
Listen,
it's been awesome.
all of that, you reminded me of my journey early on. So my father is in the military for 22 years. And so I was an Army brat. So I moved every 3 to 4 years. And at that point, it was normal, like to just, oh, okay, 3 years, you meet people, you leave people. But I remember when for 8th grade, I went to 3 different middle schools. And I went to Georgia, and then I went to New York, Fort Drum, New York. And there's not a lot of people that look like me and you in Fort Drum, New York. And when I got there, it was just like that, like, oh, because at that point I had a real strong Southern accent. I'm originally from Georgia, and my accent was really strong. And when I got there, I was like, I was a part of the circus. They're like, did you hear the new girl talk? Did you hear her accent? Say this. Oh, you have braids. How you get the braids in your hair? Can I touch your hair? And it was such an eye opener because I'm like, what what is going on?
Right.
why, why, why do you want to touch my hair? But it's just crazy how those different parts
Exactly.
of the, you know, you come from one side to the other side and it's like, what is this?
Yes, absolutely. And I grew up in Katy, Texas as well. So I understand like how you were traveling all over,
Mhm.
having that diverse background. And it's so funny because growing up, my parents would always be like, "Amelia, you're so versatile. Like I would have sleepovers at the house a lot. So I would have friends from all different backgrounds.
Mhm.
So my parents would come out of their comfort zone and just have to introduce themselves to their different families and friends, and they would learn a lot about different cultures. And
Mhm.
one of my best friends, she's half white and half Vietnamese.
Mhm.
And her just teaching me so much about both of her cultures. She learned so much about my culture and where I come from. And I would even have friends growing up like, why are you friends with so and so? I don't get it. They're over there and they hang. And I'm just like, I've always been at a young age that like bridge, the peacemaker
That's the
between
word
all
that
of my
came to my
friends
mind.
because
Bridge.
yes, I just have been like, and that is why, just you inviting me on this show is amazing. Just the title in itself, Beauty in You. And I just was thinking back too with that question. That is such a beautiful question you asked. It just has me thinking is that even at an early age, I was able to see the beauty in others
Mhm.
and help bridge those who may look at others' differences or just unique qualities as something to maybe be judgmental of.
Mhm.
And growing up, I was even bullied, for just several
Yep.
different things. And like I said, just being from all over, having gifts. I had African print style clothes. I
Wow.
had European style clothes. I had Asian inspired clothes. Like, oh, who do you think you are coming in that outfit? And I'm like, this is me,
Who I am.
So at that early age, embracing my uniqueness, embracing my fashion,
Mhm.
not being afraid to embrace other cultures' fashion and uniqueness because I feel like this is our world. We are all a part of this beautiful world. And to show, the fact that we can embrace other cultures, have friends from all walks of life, because the beauty is everywhere. So it's just amazing how it's all coming full circle.
Absolutely. You know, one thing that I admire about you is that, you know, you were able to, you know, start your discovery journey at such a young age. You know, I didn't have that though. Even though I traveled everywhere, I was not who I am now. I was such a shy person. It took me a minute to come
Right.
out, but when I did, it was like with my close people, like you see a different side of me. And I still find myself being kind of like that as an adult. I'm really careful about who I trust, I guess. But that like originated from such a young age. I can remember stories like, this is why I don't trust, or this is why I am this way.
Right.
But it took me a minute. But what I am thankful of is that who I am now, I'm able to project that like in
Ooh,
my kids. Cause my son, he is very confident.
love that.
And he is the bridge. He's everybody's bridge. He has such a group of friends. He's the social butterfly and he's friends with people like I'm like, you're friends with them? He's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, oh. Like, cool.
I
You know,
love
he's
that.
he bridges everyone together. And then even my daughter, she's just so confident in who she is now at such a young age. And I did not, I was like,
I
no, I was still
love
trying to
that.
figure it out.
Right. And I just love that you shared that because that's so funny. Growing up, I had a friend say, Amelia, you're like the social butterfly because I moved to Chesapeake Beach, Virginia. And
Mhm.
I'll never forget my friend Jasmine. If she's watching, hey girl, hey.
Hey.
She told me because I came to this new school and I didn't know anyone. And so it came time for lunch. And I'm
Mhm.
like, oh my God, I don't know where I'm going to sit,
Yeah.
how I'm going to fit in. And my friend Jazz just embraced me with open arms. She goes, come over here, girl, sit with me and my friends. And I just remember that warm embrace of her
Mhm.
just accepting me and her group of friends. And that helped, like what you were saying, shy. Like I didn't always, used to be this outgoing social butterfly. And when she invited me to the table, I just like lit up. I felt more confident. And I
Oh,
feel like, her seeing something in me as a friend, just I appreciate that moment. Like we don't keep in touch still, but if she's still out there, I just want to tell her, girl, thank you, for just showing me you see me and including me to that seat at the table. Like, and especially, kids growing up, there's so many cliques and circles out there where people can tend to feel peer pressured and like,
mhm.
oh, I'm not with the cool kids or the popular kids. And that's why I appreciate growing up. My parents did include us on their travels. So
So,
my father, he retired from the airlines. So still to this day, he's big on travel. He's like, I want y'all to see the world through your own eyes and not the
mhm.
stories I'm telling you or even the stories y'all are seeing in these history books. So
Yeah.
I appreciate my parents for helping me get out my comfort zone. And it just reminds me of this Maya Angelou quote where she says, "We delight in the beauty of the butterfly, but rarely admit the changes it has gone through to achieve that beauty." So
Mhm.
it's just so amazing you brought that up too with your children and what you went through, what I went through, us being able to embrace that journey,
Mhm.
that self discovery phase to embody that beauty of the butterfly. It's powerful.
It's so powerful, and we go through so many changes, and I always say it's conflict with them because sometimes they are necessary, sometimes they're extreme too, and you're just like,
Right.
"Oh," it had to be so extreme to get the lesson, why, you always ask, "Why am I going through this? What do I need to get from this? What do I need to learn from this?" At least I do now. I try to figure out like, "All right, this is rough. So what lesson am I supposed to take from this right now?" But, our discovery journey, yeah, we're it's happening all the time. We're changing all the time. We're getting older. We're learning more about ourselves. We're learning more about our circle. And as we
Exactly.
grow, we learn that not everyone's meant to kind of go with you as you grow, even though you want them to, but not everybody's privy to all of that. You know what I'm saying? And so that's hard
Exactly.
to even recognize too. Like, I'm growing. I want everyone to come with me, but y'all really can't come with me. But then that turns into you acting brand new.
Come on, you better tell it. That is deep. And it's like, let's peel those layers, is the moment. And I had this conversation with my mother. I was just, talking about how proud of her I am. I'm just so proud of her. Like, she has been an educator all my life. She was even a substitute teacher growing up in some of the schools me, my brother, and sister went to because she wanted to be, in the mix and
Mhm,
seeing, how my children are being treated, what's going on. So she really helped me navigate through a lot of my insecurities growing up
mhm,
in school. I'll be like, I don't look like them, or
mhm,
I want to just wear exactly what they're wearing. And just help me embrace my culture with saying, there's nothing wrong with being unique. And I just want to give you your flowers. Like, you are so inspiring
mhm.
and
Thank you.
such an amazing human and mother. Like,
Thank
I just
you.
love all of your posts and just encouraging words you put out into the world. And it's just so relatable because I just feel like we are all always evolving, and I strive to just be a better person every day to, watch who I'm influenced by and, just really set myself in a position to just be in alignment with my mission.
Yeah.
And I think that can be so hard because, like you said, the moment you do stay focused and do have that groove,
Mhm.
those who can't come with you, they want to say you switched up,
Yep.
you're acting brand new,
Yep.
and throw out just all kinds of things. But I actually am grateful for those people
Mhm.
because I understand they have more work to do.
Yeah.
And that's where I just feel blessed is knowing like you can look, this is what I was talking to my mother about is that people
Mhm.
can look so good, do all the work on the outside. I'm talking about Louis Vuitton hooked up,
Yep.
Chanel bag, riding around in the newest, but the work on the inside, when you really do and peel back those layers and do that self work, I mean, you can just tell by talking to someone and how they treat others,
Mhm.
and their movement, how they are moving through life, that work is done. And I've invested thousands of dollars in just healing. I went through just different self-care centers, just where it's like they embody that holistic approach, how the whole mind, body, and soul. So taking time out
Mhm.
to reset my self-care and implement just new routines have helped me reconnect to my inner beauty and refocus and say, wow, inner beauty is really a mixture of mind, body, and soul. How you feel on the inside, what you
Yes.
carry and bring out.
Yes, especially like all of that mind, body, and soul. The mind is so important. And I mean, that mindset part, that shifting, that mindset shift is so much work. We talk about rediscovery and becoming the best version of yourself and rediscovering and, all the beauty that we have within. But it's hard. It is hard, and I
Yes,
often wonder about those that, they do spend so much on the outside, with the name brand, like
right.
big name brand, what they're covering up is, I wonder, like, is it hard to, we talk about peeling that onion, but do they not wanna peel the onion? Because that's deep. Once you start peeling that onion, you
Yeah.
get right to the middle, you're like, "Ooh, do I face it or do I
Ooh,
do I turn around?"
right.
It's like, what am I do here? So it's like really making that commitment when you say I'm about to start my rediscovery journey and I'm going to put the work in for myself and I'm going to own when I mess up and I'm going to speak up. That's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot
It's a
for
lot.
all parties involved. It's a lot for yourself because you are breaking out of that comfort zone and you're actually like say I'm going to do this and I'm committed. And it's a lot for I think those in your circle because they're not used to
Yes.
that part of you. And that may have always been who you are, but you never were able to
Hmm.
really show that, because you were hiding it or not as confident
Wow.
or afraid to
Yeah.
speak it. So when it comes out, you're like, yes, I'm happy, I'm doing it. And the people around you are like, who are you? Because I don't know who this is. I don't know who this is. What is this?
So like,
So I,
that is
I
so
often
true.
wonder.
That is powerful. Like that self-discovery, I just, whoever's listening, I just want to share with them what has helped me along the way
Mhm.
is the key to it all for me has been patience.
Yeah.
Is that in life there's been, storms that came my way
Mm.
that were sent to destroy me, like take me out to where that patience, that meditation I've invested in, those, I would say, lonely nights,
Mhm.
that isolation saved me. And I don't know who may be going through isolation right now, who may be just feeling a little bit lonely or just kind of like the oddball, like I don't connect with these people or I'm not feeling like it's not giving what it should give around
Mhm.
certain circles. Just want to tell you you're not alone. Like I've been there before. And, that key to me has been, leaning into that vulnerability
Mhm.
when I was isolated to where I just cut people off because I didn't feel connected. And I'm talking about people who outside looking in were like the perfect friend,
Mhm.
the perfect partner, the perfect whatever you want to put it on paper, but that vibe, that spirit, that soul. And
Yeah.
that's really, to me, I'm grateful that I've always been in tune with my intuition and just
Mhm.
my threshold and tolerance of what I will allow in my life. And just, whoever's listening, just trust yourself. Know that that isolation is saving you.
Mhm.
That patience, just hearing your inner voice. And when the noises from the outside just no longer, motivate you or move you because the inside voice is really what you need to lean in on and trust. That has been my guiding star, my
Mhm.
light that has been saying to me, even though it's rough, even though it's rocky, and I can't control this, but what I can control is me. I
Yeah.
can control
Steve.
how I'm reacting to these situations that were meant to throw me off and just staying centered. So I just wanted to share that as like one of my key to just really
Yes.
moving in intention is just being patient and knowing that, the time will come where I'll shine. The time will come where, you know, those things and goals I've been really leaning into and preaching and just praying to pop will happen. So I'm just really content and I just feel at peace with waiting for what's mine,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. And
Yeah,
you got patience. Let me tell you, that's something that I had to work on. I had to work on that part because
yeah,
I wanted to hurry up now. There would be people that would tell me, like, I know you're going through right now, and I know it's rough, and I know you're in such a dark place, but when you come out, you're gonna shine. When you come out, people are gonna be like, oh my God, I can't believe you went through that when your head's held high. But at that moment, like I could hear them, but I
right,
couldn't really hear them. I was just like,
exactly,
there's no way that I'm gonna come out of this. There's no way
right,
that things could possibly get better. Things are just so bad right now. Like I am not seeing nobody's light. And if I do come out, how's it gonna be? Like, what am I gonna do? I couldn't see it. I couldn't see it
right.
until one day I did. And I don't know when the stars
Wow,
aligned and I saw it, and through
mm,
all of that came the Chiquita Mack, came, the platform and inspiring and talking to other women like me and
wow,
realizing that I'm not the only one that's gone through any of these things. There's actually other people that do too. Cause when you go through something, you always feel like you're the only one for some reason.
exactly.
But it's crazy now when I look, I'm like, oh, is this the light they was talking about? Because I ain't seen.
Right? Isn't it beautiful? I love it.
Yeah, it's so crazy. So it's just like, yeah, like you said, whoever's listening, it does get, not saying that it doesn't get rough, not saying that life doesn't happen, because life happens and it happens hard. But
Yes,
from the advice that was given to me, there is light at the end of the tunnel.
I love that.
And then you take Amelia's advice and you say, be patient and you'll get there.
Yes. Gotta snap to that. I love that. And it's just, to me, I do a lot of inner child work. So I always just hug my inner child, the one who didn't always feel included, the one who always may have felt like the oddball. I just pay homage to my younger self, not even realizing this until being a guest on your show, seeing how the beauty in you
Mhm.
and the beauty in me has always been, I would say, something that I've always tapped into, and realizing that it's not always on the outside. When you feed the inside, just connecting with nature. I always love being outside. It's something about just the beach, the ocean,
Mhm.
being even on just parks or different trails I go to. I realize that helps restore my beauty is really by appreciating the beauty of this world.
Mhm.
We have so many, I would just say, wonderful attractions living here in Las Vegas. So I've been just getting outside more because I do work from home. So working from home and just connecting with clients virtually, I try to encourage them, just get outside today.
Mhm.
Just really get that sunshine. Let the sunshine just warm you up and radiate through you, because
Yes.
that honestly has been my recharge, is looking at nature, looking at how we all are flowing. And it's so many things we can't control. But what you can control is what you respond to.
Yep.
And that's what I'm learning as well, is putting that time on my calendar, say, oh, you're going outside today.
Mhm.
You're taking, this trail, or you're just doing something for me. And that's where I've let go of resentment. So this year, I actually have released so many attachments I used to have to material things.
Wow.
I would be, I thought the newest this, the newest that, just wanted to keep up with the trends, because I mean, who
Mhm.
wants to feel behind and
Yeah.
like, oh my God, you have that, and I'm over here on this old version. So where it's like trends, technology. This year, everything has just been simplified, just in my personal life, to where I've decluttered a lot of my space. I
Mhm.
let go of a lot of attachments to just material things, even attachments to certain friends and energies I was holding on to, and leaning into that vulnerability,
Mhm.
to where it's like, okay, Amelia, I don't know why you're doing this, but I trust your decision in this moment.
There you go.
And we're ever changing people. We always, as just human nature, want to evolve and change and do different things. So I feel like this year has really helped me to release and let go of things that I used to cannot live without. I said, Amelia, take a break from those things,
Hmm.
recharge, get back out into nature, and find really what gives you that inner peace.
And sometimes we need that. We need that reset, like that big reset button. And what I like, with what you did was you felt it, like you felt that you needed to make the change and hit that reset, and then you
Mhm.
did it. And a lot of your journey, as you've been talking, is that you're really intentional about your actions and about what
Yeah.
you're doing, and that you trust yourself. And those are all things that are not easy to do. It's not easy, we always have a plan, and then it's like, "Oh, but I didn't do it, I wasn't intentional." But you have to be intentional if you would like to make the change within yourself. You have got to be intentional about all actions and all things that involve you, and really listening to yourself about how certain things made you feel. And when you do feel like you need to reset just to get everything back in line, taking that moment to reset, whatever that looks like for you, whether it's like you said, being a part of nature, taking those walks, whether it's writing, journaling, whether it's just laying there for a little bit to get your life together. It's okay, but we all, need to
I
pay attention to
agree.
ourselves and definitely hit that reset button.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that. And I just feel like, with this journey that I'm on, and I'm glad you brought that up as the intentional component, is that's what I honestly have been just really putting on my vision board. I put that in the beginning of the year. I just said, I want to be open to connections that are in alignment with my higher self.
Mhm.
So, like what you were saying earlier, is that, going through that dark phase, but finally seeing the light, all of the commitment, the time, the energy I put when I was in a dark place and when I just didn't know, confused, scared, vulnerable, lonely, I still was planting seeds towards my higher self. So, just manifesting like, Amelia, how do you want to talk to others, how to interact with strangers who don't even know you? Start fresh with people who just aren't, your tight circle, because even the tight circle can act like they know you and they can't see the new you. It's
Mhm.
like so
That part.
deep to where you're evolving into this new person, but those from your past or who may have known you from before want to limit you, right? And say, no, that's not you. You're not going to get along with that person. So you're going to third and put these preconceived notions in your head and have you thinking, I've been doing work to where, to be honest, it's in that moment to where I figured out, wow, I'm letting others' perception of me get inside my
Mm.
head.
Yep.
I can't do that anymore. So I really just have been connecting with people who can see, even those from my past can see the new me. They're like, I'm so grateful to be a part of this new version of you. I had
Mm.
a friend tell me that the other day. She goes, whoever this new version of you, I'm grateful to know her and to be with her with you. Like,
Ooh,
that's awesome,
yes.
And I had a homeboy tell me, like, you inspire me. I literally, like,
Oh,
every time I
yes.
talk to you, I feel just re energized. And I said, you do that for me too.
Oh.
Like, it's this beautiful mirror to where I've heard this quote that say, hurt people, but heal people.
Yep.
And if we can all just unite and realize we're all on this journey of self-discovery. No one has it all figured out. But if you can just
Mhm.
give love along that way and show love, and just when you really do genuinely feel and compliment someone, give them their flowers. Don't wait until that person passes.
Yep.
Don't wait until something happens to them. Show them love when you can. Be that voice of encouragement, because it's hard out here. And to do the work, like how you're pursuing your goals, your passion, starting a podcast, making moves, and still being an awesome and amazing mother and
Mm.
wife. Like,
Thank you.
I tilt my hat to you. That is amazing. And just, so many components, and being able to compartmentalize our goals, our passions, and while shedding the old layers and entering into this new level is truly
Mhm.
a gift.
Yeah.
It truly is a balancing act.
It really is. Our circle makes such a difference. And, like you were saying, you inspire me, you inspire me. Like it all makes a
Oh,
difference when you're on your journey. And, I take every person that I can learn from, I take it. I take it. All the knowledge that you're spitting today, I'm taking it,
yes,
because it
yes,
also helps shape me as I continue on my journey as well. We can all learn from each other, and I just think that's so important. I think it's so important to always be in that learning phase, even though we're still trying to figure it out, but just be willing to take,
yes.
take the nuggets that you can get when you can get them, and keep them on the side when you need them.
I love that.
One of the things I want to back up a little bit and then we'll go forward again is that, you talked about your mom and the lessons you learned, from your mom. And it just made me think of my relationship with my mom in the beginning. Like we didn't have a strong relationship until later in life. And so a lot of those lessons, like those hardcore
Right.
lessons that I learned were actually from my grandma. And I just watched her like do so much, like carry so much like on her shoulders. She was always moving and always smiling, always going. And I just remember like sitting in the car with her, like going everywhere. And so I just learned so much from her in terms of just raising the family and, holding things together and not being judgmental. She's all like, she never judges, she never has, even with everything I've gone through up until this point. She's just like, "What happened? Let's talk about it." But she's never never been one to like
I love
judge me,
that.
for it. So it's just the people in your life, the people in your circle, the ones you grew
I
up with.
love it.
Yeah,
Grandmas are the
they make a difference and they shape you.
yes, absolutely. I completely agree with that. And, I'm just grateful for my grandmother as well. My mother and my grandmother, ever since I can remember, they've been like the most prime examples of just class, like their
Mhm.
fashion sense is just impeccable. My grandmother, she used to be a model growing up,
Oh.
and she just has the most fabulous clothes, the most fabulous jewelry. And I remember being younger, putting on her heels, trying on her clothes. She was like, "Girl, what are you doing?" And then she would drop these little gems with me. She would say, "This is what you get her perfume. Get a
Mhm.
couple of different perfume kind of outfits." Told me the difference between work attire, fashion sense, so getting into corporate America, she's like, "That's what you don't want to wear." She worked in the government in Washington, D.C. So she
Oh.
has so many different, I would say, amazing gems she shared with me. And I see that stuck with my mother, and just my mother, how she carries herself and always has the freshest outfits, and told me about, pantsuits and suits with the skirts. You don't have to always have the same, you know, boring. And yes, my grandmother, she has just honestly instilled just so many gems within me. And I really do appreciate her and my mother for really leading the way and showing that beauty isn't just skin deep. It's how you, talk to yourself. These positive affirmations, these downloads that every morning I have my own little routine. I listen to my favorite song that I'm feeling at the time. I look myself in the mirror and I just tell myself positive affirmations, because I know this world is gonna be a million haters behind me saying what I'm not doing right. But if I start the day with my own voice telling me, "You're doing it, keep going, don't give up. This is your year, don't shrink." And
Mhm.
these places where people try to act like they don't see you, they see you. So
Yes.
be seen and speak loud and be great. Like, I just tell myself different variety of messages,
Mhm.
and I've been taught, like my dad taught me this. He said, "Of all the things you can be in this life, at least be kind to others."
Yeah.
Because kindness is something that's contagious. And he, taught me growing up, like how jealousy is an ugly trait. Because
Mhm.
I remember one time growing up, I was probably jealous of like my brother. He may have did something for my brother, like took him to go shopping. And I'm like,
Mhm.
why can't I? I
Yeah,
said,
why
we
can't
had
I go?
like, let me go. And he's like, this is my, it's like, we here, we're gonna go get some stuff for his sports. You know, this is not your time to go shopping right now, or something like along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually came home and had a talk with me at a very young age and said, Amelia, jealousy is an ugly trait. You
Mm-hmm.
don't want that in your heart. Don't be jealous of others. Be happy for others.
Yes.
And the following week, he took me, we went to the mall, just me and him, took me shopping, this, that. And I was just like, wow, that was honestly a powerful lesson that he shared with me growing up, because he was like, when it's not your turn, still clap for your brother.
Yep.
Still be happy for him because your time will come. And I'm so grateful that at an early age, they instill powerful lessons that transformed into how I treat others. I try not to compare myself to others.
Mm-hmm.
I see people who are on a different journey. They may be further behind than I am, or they may be further ahead than I am, but I don't treat them differently based on their journey. I've learned to, instead of compare, just
Mm-hmm.
relate. We all have something that we can relate to others with. Just being human, that's relatable enough. Surviving this world, we're related on that. And leading with that, as opposed to, oh man, how come this person did that and I couldn't get that and I started there at the same time, and all these little comparisons that can turn into this jealousy. And when people are jealous, it kind of dulls their beauty. Like, I don't know if you ever talk to someone who's just a hater, like just has so much gossip,
Negative.
care about someone, and you just start looking at them different, like,
I'm good.
I'll talk to you later, sweetie.
Good. I'm not even talk to you right now. I'm good.
Exactly. And it's like, I've just stopped engaging in gossip, stopped going to those blog sites. Like,
Mhm.
a lot of those things that I used to feed myself kind of was beginning to be contagious. It's like comparing myself to certain celebrities' journey. And in my head, thinking I'm supposed to be somewhere where it's like, you can't be there until you do the work.
Mhm.
So, doing that work and understanding, it's just so much that goes into these celebrities who have made it,
Yeah.
or even, my peers who have made it,
Yep.
who are doing things like we don't see the behind the scenes, the hours they put in, the money they've invested, the connections that, they had to cultivate.
Yep.
And I think that is so important, is to tap into your village, those who actually take the time, and like, all criticism can be constructive.
Yeah.
I used to shut down with criticism when I was in high school. Like, people like, oh, I need to give you constructive criticism. And I used to think like, oh my goodness, like I'm already there. I know, and
Mhm.
just slowing down and saying, wow, I do have work to do. I'm going to always be a forever learner, because understanding, life is this beautiful process, and just trusting your journey.
Mhm. That
Exactly where
part.
I'm at.
That
Yeah.
part. Trusting your journey. It's hard. It's scary too. But you have to trust and know that you know what's best and that you're doing exactly, what you need to be doing. I want to go back to positive affirmations really quick because I love me some positive affirmations. I am like
Mm,
positive affirmation queen. I have them in my house. I have
I
them in my
love
kids' room.
it.
But when I started out, I hated positive affirmation because I felt awkward. So I was taught, like,
Right.
you pick three and then you say them out loud and you look at yourself and I'm like, this is dumb. I remember saying that, like, this is so, I don't get it. And it was mostly because I was so angry. Like everything I was going through, I was kind of like fighting the changes. Like, I don't
Right.
even know what this is, and this is dumb. And I don't feel like saying, I am beautiful and I'm confident and I'm worthy. Like, this is not going to fix what I'm going through. So I was like trying
Right.
to, I think it was a way of like trying to find control somewhere because I felt like everything I was going through was like out of control. And so I did not like positive affirmations so much. So it's funny now that those that knew me like earlier in the journey are like, you always preaching some positive affirmations, huh? I'm like, I love them now.
I love it.
I
It's
love
just
them.
such a beautiful reminder. And I just look at it as like each morning I'm just filling up my positivity cup,
Hmm.
because I read somewhere the average person has 50,000 thoughts a day. So
Negative
with all of those
thoughts.
thoughts, make sure they're positive,
Hmm.
and I said it's so important because it's how you set the tone for your day. When you set the tone with positive music,
Hmm.
music that's going to just uplift you or just set the tone with maybe meditation, just stillness, something quiet. I've realized is that when I wake up, I just really dig deep and say, how do you feel today?
Hmm.
Because a lot of times the routine can sometimes feel like we're just going through the steps, going through the motions.
Yeah.
And I switch up, just different styles of what I'm feeling in that moment
Hmm.
because I'm a really big component of not always feeling robotic. Like I even do that even with just different roles that I have to do at my work in financing, working in corporate America. I'm big on making sure in whatever layer or role I have to fulfill, I keep my humanistic approach
Hmm.
because keep it real, we're in artificial intelligence, AI, where
Taking over.
everything is quick and I just want to plug this into AI so it can think for me real quick and I don't have
Hmm.
to process that. But I encourage people to use AI as leverage, but don't let it take away your essence
Yeah.
and your humanism and the way to relate, to really
Hmm.
connect with someone. And especially in this virtual world where a lot of us really do connect in a work from home setting, just being able to, I would say, just pick up on certain virtual nuances
Hmm.
and still being able to connect is such a, I would say, pivot that I've learned, just learning that pivot and learning that, in those moments where I kind of feel like I'm losing myself with technology and things of that nature, I actually just connect, like I was saying, back outside into nature and just kind of like decompress, but just still recharge
Hmm.
so that I can connect to who I feel like, is on that same vibration.
Right.
It is
Get
definitely
some tea.
amazing. So
Sorry.
it's just like that frequency, and when you vibrate on a frequency of just your higher self, I
Hmm.
just feel like you just start attracting blessings
Yes,
and start attracting
absolutely.
opportunities that are really in alignment with your higher mission.
Hmm.
So it's really a beautiful journey.
It really is. And that word robotic, like when you said it, like it hit me a little bit because I remember like early on in my motherhood journey, so many like different journeys we go through, but the motherhood journey, I remember being so robotic. Like I was just doing what, like, wake up and feed the baby. And then, and I didn't really shower and I did, because I'm like a robot and I'm afraid to
Right.
make a mistake, and then you realize like your days turn to being robotic. Like you get up, you take the baby to daycare, you go to work, you come home, you cook dinner, you do, and I was
Right.
not happy. I was not happy feeling like a robot. I was so confused because I didn't know if that's what I was supposed to do. Like, am I supposed to feel like this? Like, this is what it means, right? When you're a mom, you're supposed to do all these things. Am I supposed to feel this way? I feel like, like you said, a robot. So no, you're not supposed to feel like that. Learn that. And I had to do some more search within myself because that's when I started to lose myself. I started to
Right.
lose who Chiquita was by, just going through the motions each and every time. So I'm very self-aware now. If I
Yeah.
do ever feel myself being a little robotic, I'm like, let's switch it up. Let's switch it
I
up.
love that. See, you're so in tune with the self. And
It's
I
a lot
just
of work.
think that, yes, I was just going to tell you, like, I can definitely tell you've taken the work, the commitment, and just in the way in which, like you just said, just there feeling and sensing when you are becoming like that. And that's where I'm at in my journey is just understanding these thoughts are just thoughts. These
Mm-hmm.
emotions are just emotions. They'll pass through.
Hmm.
And that dark period, there is going to be light at the end of the tunnel eventually. If you don't see it right now,
Yeah.
just continue feeding your higher self, telling that version that you wish to be, you're right there. Hold on, girl. I'm coming for you. And that's what's been keeping me through because it is like a race, it's honestly, to me, a beautiful race to where if you don't get distracted, you'll get that prize.
Yeah.
And that prize is so rewarding. It's like a reward that's never ending. You're planting seeds in all of these connections you come across. People who, in my past I had a friend from elementary for when I used to live in Katy, Texas, message me out the blue saying, I remember you being so nice to me. You used to walk with me from home
Oh my
because I was
God.
afraid. And I'm like, oh my God, Emily, I remember you. And it's just like all of these things this year, people are reaching out from the past who are just remembering little acts of kindness I
Mhm,
shared along the way, which helped me remember, like I was sharing about my friend earlier who was so kind to me when I moved to that new town. And
mhm,
I felt like, oh my God, I'm never going to meet any new friends. I don't know how I'm going to. And this was in my sophomore year.
mhm,
And just feeling like, oh my God, just anger that I had to, my parents just packed up and moved. And I had, known these people from elementary up until high school. So to leave sophomore year just came with so many emotions.
mhm,
But I'm grateful that, my parents did live out their dream because that's their journey too, is that, I was at the age, of course, I'm their child. So I couldn't just stay back and say, well, I'm going to stay here. So understanding too in life others' journey that you're on as well, just me being their child, has helped me just pivot and realize you can't control everything. So, in those uncontrollable moments, how are you going to stand up and react? Are you going to stand tall or are you just going to live in that resentment? So, I just let go of resentment. I let go of, those things that hurt me along that journey and just found gratitude. Gratitude that I did go through that because it did
mhm,
help me build my muscle and realizing in those hard times, like what you were saying earlier about affirmations, like not always wanting to do them, but
mhm.
realizing those affirmations I've been doing helped me in my most challenging days. In the days
Absolutely.
where I cry myself to sleep, like, I don't know how I'm going to get through tomorrow and just wake up fulfilled because I leaned into those affirmations to where it's like, Amelia, you know who you are.
Mhm.
You know those seeds of greatness in you. So tap into
Absolutely.
those seeds. So,
Absolutely. A lot of what we've touched on during this interview has just been so worthy. Like, it's so much good
yes,
jewels and gems out there. Y'all better grab these. Listen,
gotta grab
you
them.
gotta grab something. If you don't, you gotta get something out of this one because this is a good one. But I do want to bring it back around to your book, one of the books that I do have, with me. And could you talk about diversity and how it shaped, who you are and everything. And then I have your book, The Sandbox, and I'm like, I can now I see everything. I kind of see it all full circle. So can you talk to me about it?
Absolutely. I just want to first and foremost say thank you for the support. You and your
Always.
family have been just an integral part of our journey from just building our confidence, from you all purchasing our book and sharing it on social media, just
Absolutely.
automatically gave me and my mother like the highlights of our days. It's just seeing that beauty personified. And to just give background on the book, it honestly was birthed from me and my mother's journey. So,
Yeah.
us doing just inner child healing, that inner
Mhm.
child work to where I think it all started where one day we were just talking like, what would you want to tell your younger self? It was kind of a conversation like that. And we were just like talking about different things we would tell our younger self, like, don't worry, don't shrink, just show up for you. And growing up in Katy, Texas, that's where I went to school predominantly.
Mhm.
It was no one really that looked like me, and I felt very outcasted, and the book, highlighted I had to search libraries, talk to librarians to try to find myself. I
Mhm.
used to, read a lot of just novels. I love those long novels, and it just never had an African American character as the main character in the books that they were showing in the library in Texas District at that time. So my mother and I, we were like, you know what? God put us on this world to use our talents and our gifts. So we came together. She actually has her master's in creative writing. I studied trauma studies, marriage and family therapy at Pacific Oaks in Pasadena.
Mhm.
And at the time in that program, I took child psychology. So it was a very eye-opening course because it shared some statistics. So one of the statistics that was shared was that animals are represented as the main character before minority children.
Mm,
And that right there just made me so mad, but
yeah.
it kind of clicked. It made sense that growing up, I saw a lot of the different characters that weren't me, but they were animals. And it kind of made sense. It's like, whoa,
Yep.
this is something that has been implemented in the thread of just academia to where I thought about psychological safety because studying trauma studies, you think about, the psychological component of children just studying things are learning resources that don't involve them. So
Hmm.
my mom talks a lot about how there's this disassociation in the classroom to where a lot of the minority children aren't going to really feel connected to the lesson plan because they don't see themselves. And
Yep.
it's really like a slap in the face to the child, how I felt growing up, because I'm like, hi, I'm over here.
Yep.
Are you going to
Yeah.
reference me other than Black History Month?
Right. That's all we
Like,
get.
it just felt so, psychologically unsafe because we're cultivating minds at that age. You're talking about young children who are just learning and their brains are developing. So
Hmm.
that's really where a lot of our work came from, is just wanting a book that represents the reality of today, is that we have beautiful representation of children from all walks of life.
Yep.
No child looks the same.
No.
And we really are all beautiful, like how we say at the end of the book, like flowers in the garden.
Hmm.
And I mean, I have a niece who is mixed and she is 1 years old, but my brother says she grabs the book and like wants him to read it and just hand it
Yes.
to him. And I shared this video the other day. My brother was reading to her while she was in the crib, not even like 2 months old. He's been reading her our books from a
Mhm.
very early age. And just seeing how she's learning and developing. Her name is Aviana Grace. And
Mhm.
she just, and my other niece as well, Imani,
Aw.
they both just have such, I would say, an inkling to this book. And
Mhm.
kids love it. Like, with any other book on the shelf, they reach for the sandbox
Yep.
and they're like telling their parents, read it to me,
Yes.
read it. And
Yes, my kids
I
love it
love
too.
that. It's like kids really do feel seen with our book. And
Mhm.
I'm just grateful for your support and just for you being able to help amplify our voice and help
Mhm.
us get the word out that this book is for all children because it doesn't matter the color of their skin. It doesn't
Mhm.
matter what, nationality or ethnicity they come from. What matters is that they feel seen and that
Exactly.
they can see themselves as main characters to let them know you're important. You
Mhm.
deserve to be on the first page all the way from
Do
the
that.
end.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yes, and I'm so thankful for it. Like my kids love it and they feel represented. And I just think it's always important, one, to support, and two, like I said, we're planting the seeds now. We're educating our children now. And it's like I can be a part of the book and not just be, in the beginning. I can be represented throughout. The importance of diversity, the importance of knowing who we are. We don't have to wait just for Black History Month, the shortest month, to get our
Yep.
recognition.
I
So
know
I'm
that's
thankful for you and mom. Hi, mom. How are you? I'm thankful
right.
for you and mom.
And she sends all her
You
love as
know,
well. Like, we
yes.
truly appreciate you all so much. You and your family just bring us so much joy. And to have this connection that's cultivated just in alignment, like, I just want to say thank you all so much. Y'all are
Anytime.
amazing.
Anytime. Do you guys have any special projects coming up or anything you would like to share?
Oh, we do. So we have a new book coming out.
Mm,
It's called Unity at the Sandbox, and it's introducing a special character. I don't want to release it just yet,
Don't say it
but
yet, but I'm
the
getting it.
awesome thing is the illustrations are almost complete. We are just wrapping that up. We're working on getting an audiobook out, working with some really cool, talented people with the voiceovers on the audiobook,
Mhm.
even working on some cool theme music. So we're just taking it to another
Yeah.
level and just dreaming big and even thinking about ideas of a cartoon one day, just
Oh,
putting cool
so
things
cool.
out into the universe. And it's just like the journey of us now owning our own publishing company, it has helped us just help others along the way. I mean, we've been doing ghostwriting for others, helping people just get their story, that plot, helping them
Yes.
get that from start to finish, connecting them with audiobooks, getting my brother, he just released his first textbook called The
Oh,
Black Male
awesome.
Triumph Story. He got his doctorate degree in philosophy and just seeing his
Awesome.
journey from 10 years in the making of collecting these stories to all 16 of his participants' stories being represented in this book. And like just seeing how it's not overnight. This is something that
Takes
he
time.
literally worked so hard for, and to see it personified in that textbook to where it has been shared in universities and lectures and law schools. And I'm just like, whoa, to think that our publishing company helped facilitate that has been a confidence booster, to be honest. Like
That's
us
awesome.
from children's books to getting into the universities to just making a way for voices to be heard has been a blessing.
I'm gonna have to like, because I have a little idea in my head, so I'm gonna have to come talk to you guys about this
Absolutely.
book that I want to get out, a children's positive
Yes.
book. So we're gonna have to
I
connect because we're
love
forever
that.
connected. So
Forever
I
connected.
love everything that you guys are doing, dream big. I do see more books and cartoons and everything for you guys. The sky is beyond the limit. There's space too. So we're
Thank
going for all of
you.
it. We want
I
we want
received it. Thank
all
you,
of it.
Queen.
I want to thank you so much for being a part, like I said, of my journey, being a part of the Beauty and You podcast. You are amazing. And I just know that, our connection is not over, and we'll definitely be, seeing each other, hopefully, because you're in Vegas. You said in Vegas, right?
Yep, I'm in
Yeah.
Vegas.
Good to know, because we always in Vegas. So we are forever we are forever connected. But thank you
Yes.
so much.
Thank you for having me. And I just want to say, keep shining,
Thank you.
keep breaking these barriers, continue just being that positivity that this world needs. This podcast, I believe and know, was really birthed out of real love and passion. And I
You.
just want to say, keep up that good work. Thank you for having me. You have a
Thank you so
wonderful
much.
day.
You too.
Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of the Beauty in You podcast. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Visit us at thechiquitamack.com or join us on Instagram at thechiquitamack for your daily motivation and inspiration. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Until next time.